The Galactic Council had always found humanity's absence amusing. For 3 standard galactic cycles, representatives from across the spiral arm had gathered in the crystalline halls of Nexus Prime, debating territorial disputes, trade agreements, and the endless minutiae of interstellar governance. The empty seat reserved for Earth, a quaint blue marble tucked away in an unremarkable star system, had become something of a running joke. Perhaps the humans are still learning to count. Beyond their 10 digits, Ambassador Xylith of the Coran hegemony would sneer, his chitinous mandibles clicking with mirth. The assembled delegates would ripple with laughter, their various forms of amusement echoing through the chamber. The Vorthak Empire's representative, a towering crystalline being whose thoughts manifested as prismatic light patterns, had grown, particularly fond of the jest. 3 cycles of silence. It would pulse in shifting hues. Perhaps they've forgotten they belonged to a galaxy at all. What the Council didn't know was that humanity had been listening. Every transmission, every casual slight, every diplomatic slight had been recorded, analyzed, and filed away in vast archives buried beneath the mountains of Earth's most secure installations. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood in the war room of the Terran Strategic Command, watching the holographic display of galactic political boundaries shift and pulse with the latest intelligence updates. The silver-haired xenobiologist turned admiral had spent the better part of 2 decades preparing for this moment. "They think we're primitive," she murmured to General Harrison Way, her second in command. "They assume our silence means ignorance." Way, a veteran of Earth's corporate wars who had adapted his tactical genius to interstellar warfare, smiled grimly. Let them keep thinking that for another few hours. The truth was far more complex than the galaxy suspected. Humanity had received the first galactic transmission 47 years ago, a routine diplomatic invitation that had sent shockwaves through every government on Earth. While other species had developed faster than light travel through brute force applications of exotic matter, humanity had taken a different approach. They had learned to think like the universe itself. The breakthrough had come from an unlikely source, a collaboration between quantum physicists and jazz musicians. Dr. Marcus Chen had discovered that consciousness itself could influence quantum entanglement patterns, but only when operating in harmony with certain mathematical frequencies. The musicians, with their intuitive understanding of complex rhythmic relationships, had helped translate the theoretical into the practical. While the Korans built ships that tore through space-time like cosmic sledgehammers, and the Vorthak employed crystalline matrices that bent reality through sheer computational power, humans had developed something far more elegant: vessels that danced with the fundamental forces of existence. "Signal from the Harmony Fleet," reported Lieutenant Sarah Okoro from her station. "All 2,847 ships report ready status." Vasquez nodded. The number itself was deliberate, a prime factor of a mathematical constant that had appeared repeatedly in their quantum consciousness research. Every detail of humanity's first formal introduction to galactic politics had been carefully orchestrated. "Open channels to all major galactic capitals," she ordered. "It's time we introduced ourselves properly." On Nexus Prime, the Council was in the midst of another routine session when their communications array suddenly blazed to life. Every screen, every holographic display, every quantum receiver simultaneously activated with an incoming transmission. The image that appeared was simple: a middle-aged human woman in a crisp military uniform standing against a backdrop of stars. But there was something in her eyes that made even the most arrogant council members fall silent. "Greetings, Galactic Council," Vasquez said, her voice carrying clearly across multiple translation matrices. "I am Admiral Elena Vasquez of the Terran Stellar Navy. We apologize for our delayed response to your invitations. We've been busy." Ambassador Xylith's mandibles had stopped clicking. The Vorthak representative's light patterns had frozen in mid-shift. "You see," Vasquez continued conversationally, "we received your first transmission 47 years ago. We found your political structures illuminating. Your military capabilities were particularly interesting to study." General Way stepped into frame beside her. We've been conducting what you might call a comprehensive galactic survey. Every major military installation, every strategic resource depot, every classified weapon development facility. We've cataloged them all. The council chamber erupted in confused babbling as delegates frantically tried to verify their security systems. Now we understand there have been some territorial disputes that the council has been unable to resolve, Vasquez said, pleasantly. We'd like to offer our assistance as mediators. That was when the sky above Nexus Prime changed. Ships materialized as if reality itself was opening doorways. Not the crude tiers in space-time favored by most galactic navies, but perfect, seamless, transitions that seemed to violate no physical laws even as they defied all expectation. The vessels themselves were works of art, sleek curves that somehow suggested both organic growth and crystalline precision, their hulls seeming to shift between solid matter and pure energy. 2,047 ships arranged themselves in perfect mathematical harmony above the capital world, their formation creating complex interference patterns that painted aurora-like displays across the planet's atmosphere. The Terran Stellar Navy believes in leading by example, Wei said calmly as panic spread through the council chambers. We've taken the liberty of positioning similar fleets above every major world represented in your assembly. Please don't interpret this as aggressive action. Think of it as a visual aid for our diplomatic presentation. Ambassador Xylith was frantically keying commands into his communication console, trying to reach his military command. The response came back immediately. 17 Terran vessels had appeared in perfect formation around his homeworld's defense platforms. The platform's targeting systems couldn't lock onto the human ships, and attempts to communicate with the platforms were met with polite automated messages in perfect Koran dialect, suggesting that perhaps they should focus on the diplomatic proceedings. We've reviewed the outstanding territorial disputes cataloged in your databases, Vasquez continued, consulting a data pad with the casual air of someone reading a shopping list. The Koran-Vorthak mining rights conflict in the Tertius system, the Nebulan trade route disagreements, the ongoing Zilfarian succession crisis. We have some suggestions that we believe will be mutually beneficial. The Vorthak representative managed to pulse a single word. How? Vasquez smiled. We've spent 47 years learning to listen. Now we'd like to teach you how to sing in harmony. The galaxy had mocked Earth's silence. But silence, humanity, had learned was just another word for preparation. And now, as human warships hung in perfect formation above every major world in the galactic arm, the cosmic conversation was about to become much more interesting. Shall we begin? Admiral, Vasquez asked pleasantly. We have so much to discuss.